Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the sales hunter, and this is a kick. We're just talking. Who am I talking with?
This is Meridith Elliott Powell, business sales expert and business growth strategist.
Okay, tee up the question. Let's go.
So I think this question is going to be right up your alley. So before we started shooting this session today, I was out with a client who is using more of a, shotgun approach to prospecting. And they're just not hitting their sales goals. And what do we need to do to choose better prospects?
Oh, I'll tell you what, so many salespeople struggle with that. And that's why they say prospecting doesn't work. That's why they throw in the towel. They think, no, you first have to identify who's your perfect customer. Who is your best customer? And the argument, the challenge that I always say is, and I love asking this when I'm working with a company, I'll ask the VP of sales, what's the percentage of deals that you have to discount to close?
Oh, great question.
And well, what is very interesting is the more misalignment you have in prospecting, the more likely you're going to have to discount to close because you don't have that perfect prospect. And it's the reason I use the line, you can't take a Walmart shopper and make them a Nordstrom customer.
Mm-hmm.
Both are great business models, but you've got to know who you're going after. If you prospect right. So many times what you have to do is actually prospect fewer. Did I just say the word fewer? Fewer prospects.
Failed.
But yeah, because they're more closely aligned versus just shotgun everybody. Yeah.
Well, so I've got a follow-up question actually about that. And so,
this is a 2-question morning.
Yeah, I'm interviewing you. Is because you are dead on. You are so right. I mean, the higher quality of your prospect, and quite frankly, the outbound sales call is the most expensive thing you're going to do. So why not align yourselves at somebody who might actually do business with you? But what does it take to identify your top prospect? I mean, how granular do you need to do? Where do you get started, and how do you start down that path?
Well, I think first of all, what you do is you make a list of what are all the outcomes that you've helped customers in the past achieve. What are all those outcomes? It's not what you sell, it's the outcome. And that's actually one step beyond the benefit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's, how does this really help them? And then what I begin to line up is say, who is most likely to really see value in those outcomes? So then I begin to line up whether it be those companies, whether it be those people. Maybe it's companies. So now I begin to line up, okay, what is the title? What is the position within that company? I begin to create as tight a list as possible. Now, you may have a series of outcomes that are really in 2 or 3 distinct bubbles. Fine, that's okay. So you're going to have a very tight list here, very tight list here, very tight list there. That's okay. But boy, you've got to get tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, I love this idea of not only focusing on the outcomes. I mean, first of all, that really positions you to sell those, right? Keeps you away from selling the benefits and the features like we all did. But really, I mean, people want to buy the fact that they're going to build their bench strength, or they're going to drive their bottom line, or they're going to increase, productivity or efficiency. They'll pay for what that result is. So I love this idea of laying out the outcomes and then really figuring out what companies align with it. I'll tell you something that I do is I have my clients make a list of their top 10 clients. Those people that just bring a smile to their face, they enjoy working with them, they buy their products and services, they pay them, which is such an important part of a top client. And
that's a good thing. That's normally a good thing.
Yeah. And when you lay those clients out, even if you sell across industries, you'll start to see themes about them, things that they have in common. And when you can identify those, you can use those to create questions when you interview prospects. And I'll just give you a quick example. I was dealing with a client that really had all the attributes I look for. CEO of a company looking to overhaul their sales team. He wanted to be actively involved in there. But as I got into my questioning, he had a lot of dead weight on his team, and it was weight that he wasn't willing to get rid of or hold accountable. And that's a trigger for me to get out of there, because I only like to work with teams who are looking to take it to the next level. That's where my highest and best use is. So, identifying who they are, and then when you make those prospect calls, being able to prospect from a place of power rather than a place of need.
Okay, so now you just said that was dead weight. You didn't want to work with that customer, but then earlier you mentioned to me that I was dead on. So do you not want to work with me or what? I mean, come on.
You're dead on. You're not
okay,
dead
okay, good. You brought up something very, very interesting, because you said across industries. So many times what happens is people feel they can only sell within this industry. And I think when you do that, you eliminate so many opportunities. But when you focus on the outcome, like you said, what are those questions? It's amazing how many more opportunities you will begin to find. Yeah, it's cool. That's neat.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think really the most important thing that has come out of this segment, though, is what you said, in the fact that the better that you get at prospecting, the better the relationship is going to be, the better the long-term result is going to be. I never thought about really connecting that in my head. Is if I've discounted something, do I look back and did I choose the prospect well? Because you're right. When I nail the prospect, the rest of this is easy.
Well, let me add on a couple more things too, because here's what I found. During the prospecting phase, right after you make that connection, there's a little bit of a relaxed state. And it's amazing how that prospect will share with you more information, which is really so valuable, because that's information you don't want to uncover when you're in the midst of negotiating a deal. Because, when you're having to negotiate, you got to question everything. So really good prospecting, I think, allows you to close faster and allows you to close at full price.
Yeah.
And I think it just accelerates so many things. But it comes back to that whole thing that not all prospects are created equal. And just because somebody has a heartbeat does not, how many times have we seen salespeople spend time with prospects just because they'll have a meeting with them? And no, that means they just have a heartbeat. I don't know about you, but I've got a dog. I got a dog around here somewhere, and that dog has a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That dog ain't buying anything from me. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know why, as salespeople, we have determined that everybody is our prospect or everybody is our client. We should be really, your product, your service, the value that you can add. So what you're trying to do is go out there and look for the best match and be okay, because God knows we have all wasted time on that prospect that was never going to close. And we could have gone out and called on 10 other people in that amount of time. And so getting that shift in your mind that you're just trying to find the prospect that is right for you. And when you do, like you said, that connection is going to happen. Everything is going to flow through so much faster.
You're going to open up Pandora's box with me on that one. Man, we're going to have to talk about this in a future episode, but it's that whole thing of when do you actually say no and turn off a prospect? Because I tell you what people don't realize, what salespeople don't realize is the most valuable asset they have is their own time.
Absolutely.
You better be able to use it wisely. So anyway, but hey, you know what? We should probably use our own time wisely. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. What's my website? Well, it's thesaleshunter.com. And you know this, but a lot of people don't know. Hunter is my real last name. I did not change it. I was born a salesperson. How's that sound?
That's what I was going to say. I think you were born into this. I'm Meridith Elliott Powell. You can find me at valuespeaker.com. And I encourage you to tap into both the resources that Mark and I have to really help you open more doors, close more sales. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Later.